Hello chess friends and welcome to your of Chess channel and welcome back to the Norway Chess tournament in 2024. In the round 6 we have now the clash of the titans, we have the clash of world champions, we have the amazing game between Magnus Carlsen and Liren. Magnus didn't play maybe his best chess so far in the tournament, but still has good chances to finish in the first place. He's still somewhere there. Hikaru Nakamura was the leader after 5 rounds. On the other hand, Ding is not playing his best chess. He's having some issues, I would say. Someone is saying that he has some health issues. I'm not sure about that. I don't want to speculate anything. Ding is not coming with any info about his health problems or something. So I would say Ding is not maybe having here really his best tournament, but Ding is a player who can actually beat anyone if he has his best day. So let's see now what happened. In my opinion, really a crazy game. So with the white pieces, Magnus opened with the move knight to f3. Ding's response was d5. We have g3, the king's Indian attack. We have knight to f6, bishop to g2, c5 here by Ding. I myself, I like to call to go into sort of Spassky defense ideas with the move b5. Immediately c5, pretty solid stuff. It basically becomes sort of a reverse Benoni when white is playing in sort of a Benonish way, but of course with an extra tempo because you are playing with the white pieces. Magnus goes calcing, e6, we have now c5. So like in the Benoni, we're hitting simply the center with the c pawn. We have a d4, and now immediately here e3 by Magnus Carlsen, challenging of course here Ding Liren's space advantage that he built here in the center of the board. Knight to c6 by Ding. Magnus takes, Ding also takes, and now d3, fixing now the structure in the center of the board, keeping of course also this e5 e4 square protected. We're trying of course to create a certain setup that's not allowing maybe black to break and enter here with e5 and e4. If you allow this with the white pieces from white's perspective, then I guarantee you'll not have a fun game. So here bishop to d6 by Ding, preparing maybe in some lines also e5. We have knight from b to d2 by Magnus, controlling again the e4 square, kingside calcing, and now knight to g5. Good move by Magnus, I would say, controlling further the e4. Now also this bishop is supporting the square in a good way. We have bishop to e7 by Ding, f4 by Magnus. Magnus immediately hits the flanks. Very aggressive move, and it's also actually a theoretical novelty. A good move by Magnus Carlsen. I think this could be also maybe sort of Magnus Carlsen's secret preparation, because this move has not been played in chess history. a3 has been played in similar stuff, maybe expanding here on the queen side, but f4, really wild move here by Magnus. We have rook to b8. Ding is searching for counterplay on the queen side, tries of course to push the pawn on b5. Magnus plays queen to e2, controls further the e4 square. Queen to c7 by Ding, and now g4 by Magnus. Magnus continues the pressure here. Really aggressive play, I would say, by Magnus Carlsen. This is not really so often played idea here to push the pawn to the king side. Usually in Benoni and in this reverse Benoni structures, you're trying to expand actually a3 b4, and then with the support of your light square bishop, you're trying to get an attack here. You have also, we have to say it, a 3 versus 2 pawn majority possibility attack here on the queen side. So Magnus basically changed the whole concept of this reverse Benoni setup. Great ideas here by Magnus. We have b5 by Ding. Ding expands of course here on the queen side. We have b3. Magnus plays a solid structure here on this side of the board. B takes c4 by Ding, and now b takes c4 by Magnus. But now Ding has at least occupied the b file. He gets also out of the range of the light square bishop. So far good moves here also by Ding Liren. We have rook to b6, continuing now maybe the b file attack, but also supporting on the 6th rank if necessary, maybe playing sort of a defensive idea to somehow cover the 6th rank with your rook if maybe the position gets too dangerous here for black. We have knight from d to e4. Magnus tries to undermine the defenders in front of black's kings, tries of course to get rid of them. Here Ding takes, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, and now after bishop to b7, I would say this is a pretty equal game. Ding also played, I think, here with a solid opening, compete simply against Magnus Carlsen's most powerful piece against the light square bishop. Here maybe f5 was a possibility, but still I kind of feel that this is something that Magnus has prepared at home. f5 seems maybe tempting. kick away the knight from the center of the board. But then actually after g takes f5, e takes f5, you play knight to g5, h6. Look at this. White continues actually the attacking flow. White will have, I think, here a great attack after potential f5 by black. Then after king to h7, you play bishop to d2, maybe knight to b4, trying to somehow get the knight here, maybe attack also the d3 weakness. But now bishop to b4, I think, causes here many positional problems in black. Look at this, rook to e1, you have to play something like bishop to f6, and now look at this, even the queen is coming into the game, rook to b6, and now you're trying, I don't know, rook to f3, rook to h3. I'm showing you this line. This is of course not something important. Maybe Ding didn't play the move f5, but I wanted to show you how dangerous really this kingside attack by Magnus Carlsen is, even if you, I don't know, play aggressively yourself here on the kingside with the move f5. Magnus has here a great activity with this minor pieces, with the potential queen move, queen to h5, and with the potential rook lift like rook to f3, rook to h3. So look at this, 4-5 pieces could maybe included into the attack on the king side, and Magnus get rid of the knight of the key defender of black's position. So Magnus traded it off. Now black doesn't have so many defenders, so it's really tricky position. So after knight to e4 by Magnus Carlsen, as we said, bishop didn't continue with the bishop to b7, didn't play this risky f5. Magnus continues now himself with the move f5, says maybe you had your chance with f5, now I'm going to attack you there. E takes f5, g takes f5. Magnus is trying also in some lines to play the move f6 to break and enter here, and then maybe attack the dark squares with the bishop, maybe with the rook to f3, rook to h3. Again, very tricky idea here by Magnus Carlsen. So you see now after knight to e5, we see actually the beauty also about Ding Liren's move rook to b6. He actually protected his 6th rank, which is really crazy. He's not allowing so far the move f6, which is well defended so far, and Ding continues also with the pressure against the weak pawn on d3. Like in the Benoni structure with the black pieces, when you have the d6 weakness, many times white is trying to attack your sort of backward pawn on d6 and trying somehow to get rid of it. So Magnus continues with bishop to f4. Ding fixes the structure f6 with the move f6. Is not allowing f6 to happen by white, but this move again liberates now here maybe the light square bishop. Now the king is a little bit endangered here, light squares, because you blocked out Magnus Carlsen's f6 move. Here a rook from a to e1 by Magnus Carlsen, and now Ding, I think, makes his first tiny little inaccuracy in the game. He plays now the move bishop to e4. He gives up now the bishop for a knight. I would say a risky choice, because if you give up the bishop for a knight, then you have to have at least some kind of a new idea, at least some kind of a progressive idea. Here a better choice was to continue maybe with bishop to a3, and then maybe to attack the 2nd rank, deflect the queen from the defense of the pawn. Still, I would say, even in this line, Magnus would have here really enormous pressure, maybe to get the queen here, maybe, I don't know, to somehow play king to h1, rook to g1, including all of the pieces in the attack. But bishop to a3 was, I think, here the must move for Ding Liren. But he played bishop to e4. He probably hoped after queen to e4 that he could maybe somehow trade off his sort of bad bishop on e7 for Magnus Carlsen's bishop on f4, and then continue the game with a powerful knight, with this beautiful octopus knight against Magnus Carlsen's light square bishop, which would be basically useless. It could be only aiming here, maybe get to d5, but in a potential endgame, in a fully endgame stage, if you could just imagine this position without the rooks, queen, maybe even without this dark square bishops on the board, if this knight is left against the light square bishop, I think this would be a favorable endgame even here for black. So that was maybe Ding Liren's idea, but Magnus is not allowing that. Magnus first of all plays queen takes e4, and he's trying to now take the pawn on d4. This is not possible immediately because of bishop to c5 threats, and the queen could be trapped. But after bishop to d6, Ding is maybe preparing, as I said, to somehow trade off the dark square bishop. Magnus goes now with king to h1 and attacks simply now the weak pawn on d4. Now there is a huge threat of queen takes d4. So that's why queen to c5 played by Ding Liren, even if you try this idea that we have talked about. You want to, I don't know, trade off the dark square bishops and then again go with your knight on e5 where it cannot be attacked by any of these minor pieces. Then look at this, queen to d4 is pretty solid, and white will simply gain a pawn. We'll have here two connected passers. Game over, I would say, here for white. So Magnus is playing really great chess here. He is not allowing Ding Liren to go into this positional trades of pieces. So that's why queen to c5, bishop to g3. Now, for instance, if this knight moves, we have always the escape route for the bishop. You don't have to trade off your dark square bishop for Ding Liren's here dark square bishop on d6. Ding continues with rook to d8, and now Magnus goes with queen to e2. A really crazy move. He's trying now to get the queen on h5, playing something like bishop to d5. Ding gave up his light square bishop for the knight, and then, as I said, somehow maybe rook to f4, rook to h4, include new attackers into the game. Really, really nice attacking formation by Magnus, but I think it was always possible because of this risky choice by Ding to give up his light square bishop for the knight. So what should you do? In the game, knight to d7 has been played by Ding. We have talked about this idea. You're trying to trade off the dark square bishops and then get the knight back on e5. Even if you try something else, I've also analyzed at home this line, queen to a3 seems again tempting because you're trying, of course, a rook to b2 and you're also attacking the pawn on d3. Seems tempting, but actually it's almost a suicide here for black, because after bishop to d5 you get the king on h8 and now queen to h5. Look at this. If you try knight to d3 to take the pawn, then you lost here on the back rank. Even if you try queen takes d3, then actually the problem is you get destroyed on the g file. You're trying maybe rook to b2. Look at this, bishop to e5. You're trying bishop to e5. Rook takes e5 is even a possibility. F takes e5. Now if you play f6, you're threatening really some dirty stuff here. Maybe g6 can be played, but now look at this, queen to h6, trying checkmate. You're trying rook to g8, f7. Game over here for black. Of course, black doesn't have to necessarily play all of these moves, but I wanted to show really this attacking flow that white can get if you play here even queen to a3. It's not like it's bringing you something. You're going for the d3 pawn, but the activity of white's pieces, this attacking formation, bothers now black through the whole game. So here after queen to e2, we have knight to d7. Ding goes for this positional idea, but as I said, now Magnus doesn't have to trade off the dark square bishops off the board. So here after bishop to f2, Ding Liren continues with bishop to e5. Now comes this idea bishop to d5 by Magnus. We have king to h8, and now Magnus rushed a little bit his attack. Many of us would play, I think, the same move that Magnus Carlsen played. Queen to h5 makes really sense, but a better choice is actually first of all to continue your attack through the g file. After something like queen to f8, you get now rook to g4. You're trying maybe rook to b8, and now you can also take first of all this pawn, and I think this should be pretty solid. I think white should be winning, especially because of this two connected passers here in the center of the board. But Magnus rushed it a little bit, allowed here Ding Liren to play actually rook to b2. Rook to b2 would be now the best defensive idea. Then after something like, I don't know, rook to b1, rook takes b1, rook takes b1, knight to b6, and I think this could be defendable. But Ding played a tiny little inaccuracy, queen to f8, allowed Magnus Carlsen actually here to play a stunning bishop to d4. Bishop to d4 would be really cool, because after bishop to d4, rook to f4, then you're trying maybe bishop to a5, and now comes the actual really tactical threat that's present now till the end of the game, this queen sacrifice on h7. After king to h7, rook to h4 would be, of course, an immortal checkmate that Magnus Carlsen could have played. Here, as I said, bishop to d4, the most correct move here by Magnus Carlsen. But Magnus rushed it again, played now a rook to e4, which gave here basically Ding Liren the opportunity to defend the position with the move h6. h6 is pretty solid, I would say even an equal game here. Bishop to d4, you takes, but now again the knight is coming, as we mentioned before. Although again white is these two connected passers, actually this is not such a big deal, because there is now a very cool line here with rook to b2. You're trying rook to h4, maybe to deliver some tactics here to try rook to h6, but actually even this one is working. Here, Ding should have played like this. This would be actually the most powerful defensive idea. Rook takes d5, c takes d5, and now queen to f7. There's simply no good way anymore to protect this pawn, and you're running into dangerous stuff after queen to d5. And I'm not sure how this game would end, because this is very, very dangerous for white. You lose this pawn on d5, or at least you get checked with the queen on d5. So really, really tricky stuff that Ding should have played. But although, as I said, you don't have to even see, I think, this whole tactical sequence. h6 has to be played. That's the most important defensive move. But Ding Liren played now rook to b2 immediately, and you can guess what Magnus did. Maybe just for fun, again, pause the video and try to see now the best continuation here for white. White moves and wins the game. Okay, obviously Magnus Carlsen played the tactic that we have seen previously, queen takes h7, and in this particular position, Ding Liren resigned. Again, with the same stuff, queen takes h7, and now a rook to h4, a beautiful, beautiful checkmate here. So it could have been prevented with h6. I'm not sure what happened here to Ding, but we see really sometimes this stuff by Ding. I'm not sure why he really gave up his light square bishop in the beginning. Risky choice. You see how powerful this bishop on d5 became here by Magnus Carlsen. Deserved win, I would say, because Magnus regrouped, found really the optimal squares for his pieces, but it was all of a result because of really Ding's bad choices in the game. But Magnus, of course, punishes his game, and now is the leader actually after the 6 rounds of the Norway Chess tournament. Hikaru Nakamura played only a draw in the beginning, but then lost also the Armageddon game against Fabiano Caruana, which gave here Magnus Carlsen a jump, and he's now on the first place. So this is the 10th tournament. You see, everyone can beat everyone. Magnus also lost some games, but won also many games, especially in Armageddon games. He's almost unbeatable, is now the deserved winner, and has now the best chances to win this prestigious chess tournament. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. Interesting stuff in the King's Indian attack. If you want to see some other games that we have covered from this event, check out my coverage, and if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.